When you thought you were free, but then a photo, a memory, or a dream triggers you, and suddenly you're right back in that ache again. Welcome to the all too familiar Limerence Relapse, something that you've probably experienced as a limerent on your healing journey, where you feel like you've taken 3 steps forward and another 4 steps back. So let's talk about what's really going on when there's a relapse episode. Limerence, as you already probably know, isn't really about logic. Okay, it's not about time or about how much of it has passed. It's about intensity. It's about the fantasy and the emotional and the mental activity that you have around this person. It's also about all the stored and pent up energy in your body. So when you keep looking at photos or clips of someone who once activated your nervous system, perhaps you even read journal entries about them, you reread their old text messages, what you're really doing is that you are microdosing on them over and over again. And you're actually triggering your nervous system all over again. And when you see them with someone else, okay, with someone new, or doing something which doesn't quite involve you, perhaps with a new group of friends, or doing something you have always dreamt of doing with them, but never got the opportunity to, the emotional system, your nervous system, responds as if your specialness, your safety, or your attachment is actually being threatened for real. Okay, and when you're in this entire limerence process, or even when you are in that moment of relapse, you'll feel as if you're going crazy all over again. But you're not crazy, because in limerence you can sometimes feel like you're going nuts, but no, you're not. You're actually in a neurological and energetic echo of an old longing that is still existing within your body and within your nervous system. Here's what's often triggered during a limerence relapse. So first of all, it could be the jealousy wound, where especially when you see them with someone else, you feel as if they are choosing this other person over you. Secondly, it could be the abandonment wound. Okay, you feel like you're being left behind by this person. You feel like you are being overlooked by them. The third one could be a very common one as well, the replacement fear, where you feel like you were never enough for this person and you can never be enough for them and for anyone else who is similar that you are going to meet in the future. And sometimes it's just the sheer withdrawal of dopamine, okay, because in the past, their presence always felt like, it was the equivalent of dopamine. You get like pleasure, rushes to your brain. So why does limerence, or why does the relapse actually even happen? Okay, and I would like to address how it can be incredibly frustrating. Okay, because you have been far along on your healing journey, you maybe have been at it for months, okay, thinking light is at the end of the tunnel and you're going to emerge, a free person soon, okay, but then bam, you see something from a limerent object from the past, and it triggers all the old feelings all over again. So you feel like, you are right on top, but now you feel like you're spiraling downwards all over again. So one of the things that I see in some people that I've guided before, some of my clients, is that they can do all the practices. Okay, so I can throw like 100 practices at them. They do all the homework. They are very, very good. They're just very good students, very good clients. Okay, do all the homework. They tell me all the amazing things that has happened to them in their healing journey, and that's all fantastic. That's something that I want for my clients. But sometimes, okay, behind all the actions and all the behaviors, sometimes actually there is a lack of intention. Okay, so kind of like doing it or doing the healing stuff for the sake of doing so. Okay, some people do it because they are in a coaching session with me. So they go through the entire process, but after that they may actually forget, and kind of spiral downwards into the whole limerent cycle all over again, because they go and look at, their limerent objects photo, for example. Okay, so it's the doing it to tell yourself that you're doing something, kind of like ticking off a to-do list. So when you approach your healing process with that kind of mindset, like, oh, I'm just like, finishing up some homework, right, from school, and after that I'm done. So when you do things that are kind of like you're just checking off a list, it can be, it can result in a kind of situation where you are just going through the motions. And it doesn't really quite, the learnings don't really quite sink into your mind. It doesn't really quite sink into your nervous system. So actually your body, and I've talked about this before, your body is still trapping those old emotional wounds, and that old emotional wiring is still present. Okay, and I'm not saying that everyone on their healing journey is like this, okay, like checking off a to-do list. But it's a gentle reminder that for any kind of personal growth healing or any kind of self-development kind of healing, not just limerence, it's not about going through the motions of something, like going through your homework with your coach and things like that. It's about really being honest with yourself and also allowing yourself the space to absorb the energy of these practices and to heal from within. Okay, so you have to sit with the practices long enough and be intentional about it so that it actually really, really sinks in deep. And you also have to give yourself the time for yourself to actually heal from these things. Okay? And you also have to understand that you are human. And healing is not a linear process. Okay? It's not a straight line graph and it goes all the way up. It's more like it goes up and down, it fluctuates. So sometimes you feel okay, sometimes, you just aren't. Okay, and sometimes you feel like your practices make a lot of difference and you feel like a whole brand new person. Other times, you can be working on something for a pretty long time, like maybe you're just like writing an unsent letter to your limerent object. But after that, you don't feel that kind of emotional release which you expected to feel. It's very normal, okay? Not every single session or every single healing, like recovery session is going to be exactly the same. Sometimes you don't feel the effects right now, but that doesn't mean that no healing has occurred, because the effects could come around much later, okay? But really, it's to also a gentle reminder, okay, it's really about being honest with yourself, okay, of where you are and where you want to be, and allowing yourself to absorb the energy, the space to actually be real, okay, and be present with these practices and to really, really heal from within. So, how do you interrupt the limerence relapse loop when it happens all over again during your limerence journey? So one of the first things that you can do is that you name it when it's happening. Okay, when the spiral begins, say out loud, okay, I see you, this Limerence Relapse episode number whatever, I see you. I choose to come home to myself right now. I choose myself right now, and I choose myself today. Okay, you do not have any space in my life ever again. Okay, something like that in your own words. But the minute you feel yourself emotionally getting into that spiral and those kind of familiar, not very nice feelings start to come up, it's time to actually grab that space, okay, and choose your response, your next response to be one that comes from a healing place and not one that is actually an old habit and that makes you spiral even further back down into the limerence cycle. So I think I shared somewhere, I'll share it on the screen again. I think Viktor Frankl, in his book, he actually talked about this thing called the stimulus and the response and the space between them. So anytime we have, any kind of stimuli, okay, there will be a pause before a response, right? And in that pause, okay, in that couple of milliseconds or seconds or minutes or whatever, you can actually choose decisions and behaviors that will completely change your life. So putting that in the limerence perspective, when you see a stimuli, like you see your limerent object all over again, maybe you chance upon the text or you see him again out in public or something, and your response will come like probably a few milliseconds later, right? You feel upset, you feel angry, maybe you feel like you long for him again and you want to reconnect all over again. There is a space between seeing him and responding. Okay, and it's that space where you can actually choose not to act on your response, or you can choose to actually do something else that takes your mind and your attention and your nervous system away from him and back to yourself. You can try this. Okay, try this in your own healing journey and try this when you are in your relapse episode again. Try it and see what happens. The second thing you can do is called a visual detox. Okay, for 72 hours or more, I recommend more, okay, if you can. Block any mutual friends on social media, unfollow him if you really haven't, block whatever keywords. If you are limerent for a limerent, if your limerent object is a celebrity, block the keywords, stop going on your explore page and staring at photos of him, archive all the photos. Every scroll and every memory of him is a hit of the dopamine drug that is going to drag you back down into limerence all over again. So remember the stimulus response thing that I talked about just a few minutes ago. You have to pause the drip. Okay, you have to stop somewhere, stop yourself, and tell yourself that continuing on, okay, to engage with any kind of media or content that reminds yourself of him is not going to be healthy, and it's going to drag you back down into that black hole of limerence all over again. And ask yourself, is that something that you really want, especially after the amount of time you have spent healing from limerence already. Another exercise that I really love is what I call somatic interruptions. Okay, so what you do is that you try to change the position of where you're at or change your environment. So if you're sitting down and thinking of your limerent object and spiraling downwards all over again, what you can do is you stand up, shake your arms, dance around maybe, if that's your thing, splash cold water on your face, move to a completely different room or to a completely different environment. Okay, just shake out the environment or that state of being from your system. So your body actually can break the loop faster than your mind can. Okay, sometimes, because sometimes our minds can be very distracting and not as strong. So what you do to actually quicken the healing process or the kind of exit out of the relapse process is that you let your body lead the way. So for me, what I like to do is I will just go for a walk, okay? Or I will just, if I'm at home and I can't go for a walk, I will actually do a little bit of exercise or yoga stretching on the floor of my room. So when that happens, okay, it breaks the mental loop that will drag you back down into limerence, because when you are engaging in an activity, okay, your body is focused on performing the activity and your mind has to be focused as well. So let's say, in the middle of a limerence trigger, I go and, I want to do a yoga stretch, right? I have to look for my mat, I have to look for my phone and turn on a playlist, I have to wear proper clothing, this and that. And when you're doing all that sort of thing, your mind is slowly then being dragged backwards and back into your healing journey. Okay, it's being dragged away from that whole limerence spiral that you could have very easily gone down into. So remember, whenever you find it difficult to actually allow your mind to lead the process, okay, you can put your focus or your attention more on what your body is actually doing and let your body lead the way. The fourth thing you can do is actually reclaiming your energy. It's something that I like to do, and if you're energetically inclined, you'll probably enjoy this as well. Visualize them in front of you, okay, their face, whatever it is. Tell this face and this visual, I lovingly call my energy back from you. I bring my essence home. You are no longer needed in this limerence journey. You say goodbye to them, and then you place your hands on your chest and you breathe in for 4 counts. 4 counts of breath in, holding for 4 counts, and 4 counts of breath out. So do this breathing exercise until you feel like you have calmed down. Okay, even if you don't believe in breathing exercises, you don't believe in breath work, you don't believe in energetic spiritual practices, it's okay. Okay, breathing, no matter what your beliefs are, breathing can actually really help to calm down your somatic and nervous system, and really helps you to recenter yourself all over again. So try that, reclaim your energy. And I also want you to let out some more steam and energy from your nervous system. So what you can do is you can alchemize the ache. And how you do this is you basically just journal, or you brain dump, or you do morning or evening pages. Okay, ask yourself the questions on the screen. What does that prolonged thought of him or my limerent object represent to me? Okay, why am I even having prolonged thoughts of this person? Second, what was I afraid it meant about me? Okay, why are you thinking about him all over again? Is it some sort of emotional safety? Is it some sort of safety or some sort of meaning that he actually represents for you? So ask yourself as well, what was I afraid it meant about me? So thinking about your limerent object can be a number of things that your brain could be actually doing. Maybe your brain actually is seeking some sort of emotional safety. Maybe it's seeking some sort of validation, okay? Either from yourself or from something else outside of you. Maybe it's seeking some sort of comfort or reassurance, that everything is okay. Ask yourself, what does that entire thought actually mean to you and actually say about you? The third thing you can actually ask yourself is, what part of me felt replaced, unseen, and forgotten? Okay, because our limerent objects, they were probably occurring at the part of our lives where we were not really visible to others and not to ourselves as well. So ask yourself, what part of you actually felt like, like small and invisible all over again? And the answers to these questions may actually surprise you, because it's never really about your limerent object. Your limerent object is just like a representative, okay? This mental representative or physical representative of things that you are actually going through within you. Okay, it's about the wounds that you actually still have, you still carry, the pain that you still carry in your body, and your limerent object is just reflecting that energy back to you. Okay, so think about what wounds you're actually carrying right now still, and what wounds your limerent object is actually reminding you of. Is it a wounding, a self-abandonment wounding? Is it rejection? Is it self-worth? Is it something else? There's usually something down there, and I want you to really, really explore what it is instead of just keeping it stored in your body. Then I want you to also learn how to redirect the longing, because when you are, you experience a relapse, there's always that pull and that draw again towards your limerent object when your deeper inner wounds are not healed yet. Okay, maybe you're still struggling with being seen and struggling with abandonment and rejection and things like that. There is a wound there that is still unhealed. I want you to take that wound and that ache and pain and go do something with it. Maybe you can make art with it. Okay, paint it, write it, dance it out if that's your thing. Go for a walk, go for exercise, go be in nature, play with your kids, your pets. Okay, do some work, listen to music, read. So many things. What is on your bucket list? Go do them. Okay, and remember what I said earlier about letting your body lead. Sometimes there's a lot of pent-up energy inside us. What actually really, really can release it is actually kinetic movement or movement of your body, more so than your mind. Because sometimes you can think a lot, okay, but it still remains stuck in your head. You need to express it. When you are longing for someone, it's an energy expansion. Okay, it's energy drain actually, depending on what you're actually longing for. So in energetic terms, okay, and in certain spiritual circles like the 5 elements framework that I actually use, when you're longing for something, your energy is actually leaking out. And when your energy is leaking out, the T or the life force is also leaking out of your body. Okay? And when it leaks out of your body, it can make you feel very cranky, can make you feel very tired, and can make you feel even worse. Okay, so the idea is to reroute this energy right back to you. So whenever you feel triggered by your limerent object, it's not like a death sentence or anything. It's just a signal to actually come back to yourself, to actually redirect your focus and your healing back to yourself again. So remember, you're not broken, okay? There's nothing wrong with you or your healing journey. You are very, very human and very normal to actually be experiencing the highs and lows of healing. Your body is simply just remembering, okay? Because maybe there are still remnants of old wounds and things like that that are still lying around. So every time the spiral or the trigger, starts all over again, don't see it as failure. Okay, see it as a signal and a deeper invitation to actually go deeper into your wounds and to cleanse whatever that needs cleansing out. And it's also an invitation to remind yourself that you're still open for a deeper sort of love, but also one that is cleaner and reciprocal. So you're allowed to come back home to yourself as many times as it takes, and as how long, however long your limerence healing journey is, allow yourself the time to actually heal from it. So I invite you to explore the links down below. I'm having a healing limerence workshop coming up soon in either fall or winter of 2025, if you're listening to this in the future. Okay, the link will probably be down below already. I have a book on healing and limerence and romantic obsession. Do grab it if you want more information, or if you want something like transformative, like how Lena actually went through. Book a private soul consult. It could be an energy reading. Some of us are just more prone to limerence than other people, or it could be like a full package where I kind of go through all the psychological tools that you can actually take with you on your healing journey and beyond, or a mix of psychology and energy. Just let me know. Okay, everything's down below. You are always worth it. Okay, remember that you are not defined by your limerent object or by your limerence. So take care, and I will see you in the next video.